to the Bald Ambition Podcast. I'm your still very bald host. I'm thrilled to have the one with all the ambition today, Mirav Ozeri. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
I love your How Much Can I Make podcast. So we have the podcast on podcaster conversation
Yes.
today. And you are, as you mentioned, career curious. You've made a name for yourself in covering career transformation, self-actualization.
Yeah.
You are an Israeli emigre. You had a fruit stand in
Harlem,
which is how you started. And look at you now. Here you are on the Bald Ambition podcast. Excellent. Thank you for joining us. Tell me a little bit about your journey and especially how you found this fascination, this interest, this real talent for bringing out the best in people in terms of how they've made the most of the American dream.
Yes.
That's what this is about, right?
Exactly. Or if they want to change the dream to a better dream, also it's good. Yeah. So, I think journalism was always in my heart. Before I immigrated here, I was a photographer and I did fashion, but I did a lot of photojournalism. I went into Palestinian camps and I took pictures, almost got killed, and then they got used to me and made friends with me.
Yeah. And just like you in Harlem.
Yeah. So when I came here, I didn't have green card yet. I came here with my boyfriend that was a semi-resident because he was born here. But I needed to find out
what... you are like an anchor girlfriend. Pretty smart. You're already thinking.
So I didn't know what am I going to do. I couldn't get a job as a photographer, which is what my profession was. And somehow through a friend that had a lot on the Upper West Side of Manhattan, she said, why won't you use my lot and sell vegetables? Because I see the guy outside my window constantly filling up the apple boxes. So there's got to be business there. So I started on her lot, which was in a side street, but we did very well. And I did it with my boyfriend, but he wanted to go and study architecture. And I kind of like, I kind of like this business and making money like that. So I asked a friend of mine to join me and we opened a fruit stand. Really, it was first on 86 and Broadway, which was a major hub right outside the subway. But the police came and chased us every day when we got busy. So first I moved to the other side of the street because it was a different precinct. But then they came. So the guy that I
98th and Broadway, just to interrupt you. I just moved from New York City about a year and a half ago. I lived at about 98th and Broadway, so I know where you're coming from.
So I live on 95th and Riverside.
Oh, right now?
Yeah.
Oh, so we're not only both podcasters, both similar kind of ethnic background, but we're also former neighbors.
Exactly. Okay. So I asked my friend, is this guy that is a black guy that I met, his name was Manchu. And he said, come to Harlem. And I was very afraid because I heard Harlem. He said, don't worry, there's a hot dog lady there in the corner. So I said, if there is a hot dog lady, I could go too.
Right.
And I started and it became a huge success. Every morning I would go to the Hunts Point market, go to the auction, buy boxes of vegetables and fruits. And at the time in Harlem, they had only one grocer that sold vegetables. And he was ripping them off.
How long ago was
1978, 1979,
wow.
Sorry.
See, New York was a completely different city back then, too.
Yes,
completely.
And not only that, it was before crack. So there were a lot of heroin addicts that are harmless, really.
Yeah.
And actually the police even helped them and didn't bother them.
Yeah.
So it wasn't so dangerous. And I was actually walking with a lot of money because I had a good system. Everything was $1 a bag. They got 2 pounds of tomatoes for $1, where the Korean grocer sold them a pound for $1.59. So I became very successful. People were waiting for me to come from the market. I had 7 people from the neighborhood that I hired to pack everything. And
What
it
was
was
the
very
name of your fruit stand? What kind of name
didn't.
did
It was
you?
right on the sidewalk. There was no name. It was right
No
off
name.
my
So you
van.
had zero branding.
Zero branding. I knew nothing about branding. I knew nothing about all
You
of that.
were the brand. They came to see you.
Yes. I remember, and people were saying, aren't you afraid of the black people? And the interesting thing, when you have an accent and you knew, the very first people that really befriended me were black people. They didn't care about my accent. They didn't care where I was from. They just wanted to chit chat. So
Yeah.
I
Is
was,
is is isn't that sometimes natural and obvious, right?
yeah. Well, people don't know that. They thought, oh my God, you're in Harlem. Some guy will murder you. Even though one time there was a black guy that walked around there and hit every white person that he saw. And a friend of mine came from Israel, a very white, timid guy, and I asked him to work for me. This guy started hitting him. So that was the last time he worked there for sure.
Oh, I
But
thought the
other,
story would end the opposite way, that your friend kind of taught the guy a lesson.
no, he was too
No?
timid. Yeah,
Yeah,
too
New
timid.
York, New York can be tough. I mean, I was attacked on the train by 42nd Street, and that was fairly recently, just
Wow.
before I left. Yeah. Yeah, the situation was getting rough on the subways in New York, and a bunch of guys came into the train car and just would block the door. I had to fight my way to get out of the train car at 42nd Street.
What time of the day was it?
This was in the middle of the day on a weekday.
Whoa.
Yeah, yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Yeah, it could be a little scary there. It's
And it's politically difficult too. Now the National
oh,
Guard is being called into cities, right? And then,
it's
you know,
crazy.
well-meaning Democrats are saying that crime has come down. Why are you doing this? And then the residents who are getting beaten up or abused are like, what are you talking about? So we
Yeah.
live in a complicated country, right?
Very complicated now.
Yeah, yeah,
With bad
yeah.
reputation around the world now.
But please continue. I want to hear more about your fruit stand.
Okay, so and everything I was $1 a bag. Everything was $1. So I remember one day I came and it was Yom Kippur and I was working and I'm a bad Jew, I guess.
Yeah,
And
you're gonna go to hell, even though Jews don't have hell.
I know.
And the people
And
don't
it was
realize Jewish people don't believe in hell, right?
no,
We
they
don't
don't. They
have it.
don't know that. I know. I don't
Yeah,
know
so
how
hey,
Jesus
keep
was
it
a
a
Jewish.
secret.
I know. Jesus was a Jewish and they forget about it and he preached about different but they made of it whatever they want. But it was a gorgeous day and came in and there was already a line of people waiting for me to come because they were getting bargains. And I came out of the van and I said, "What a gorgeous day." And one of the women said, "Yes, it's because it's a Jewish holiday." So that kind of made me feel comfortable at the neighborhood.
Yeah.
And yeah, and the hot dog lady that was next to me apparently had 4 kids from 4 different men. And her last boyfriend came, he wanted some money from her, and she took a pipe that she was hiding in her cart and started to chase him around the neighborhood with a rod that she was
Wow,
having.
they don't call her the hot dog lady for nothing.
Exactly. Right. Right.
That's a great story.
And so I befriended her. She was a gambler. She liked to gamble on horses. So I said to her, why won't you let's go to Sarasota because I've never been there. And I heard about the horse races there. And she was always making money on gambling. So we went. She won money. I lost money, of course. And it was getting late. And we were trying to find hotel or motel. And we stopped. and nobody will rent us because I walked into the office with her. Nobody would rent us a room because she was Black. So then I told her, I figured it out. I was still new to the country. And I said, let me go alone into and book the rooms, and then you'll come out. And that's how that. So that was a big lesson for me in racism in America.
Yeah, and we're talking about the early mid 70s at this point.
The
right?
end of the 70s, yes.
Oh, this was already later. Okay.
That was 79, 80, the beginning.
And as an emigre, you see it directly. So not only did you get some prejudice too, but you see that there's legacy racism here in America in a big way, right?
In a big way. It was,
Yeah.
And I still tell people when they tell me, oh, the country is not racist anymore, blah, blah, blah. I still tell them it is.
Yeah, that's obviously BS from everyone's lived experience point of view. But it also seems to have not impeded you and in ways inspired you to make the most of yourself and your own career here. Because the silver lining of racist America is we might have these issues, but there is tremendous opportunity for those people who want to take it upon themselves to make their lives better. So how did you get from fruit stand in Harlem to evolving your career into what seems like journalism, media?
Right.
You've done a lot since the $1 tomato bag.
So, I came from photography and fashion and all of that. So after a while, I got bored with the business. Yeah, I was making money and all of that, but it wasn't really creative so much once you have the system going. And at the time, video was developing, and the city of New York had a free lessons at the fire department on Canal Street. So I took the course, and the video at the time was reel to reel. It was the beginning of video. So I took the course, and then they allow you to borrow their equipment. So I borrowed the equipment, and I started to do a documentary about the hot dog lady, about the neighborhood of Harlem.
It's always rule number one, everybody, start with what you know.
Right, and what's right next to you. So I started to do it, and I really liked it. And somehow I met Flo Kennedy and Gloria Steinem. I don't even remember how. And I started to produce the Flo Kennedy, who was a friend of Gloria. I started to produce her public access shows. Remember, we had public access?
Yeah, this is again early 80s you're talking about.
Early 80s, exactly.
Early 80s. So you took advantage of basically a free or almost free program that was made available.
Totally free. Yeah.
Yeah. And then they even lent you equipment. Like, here, go for it if you feel like it. And then you did a documentary of a hot dog lady, and then you happen to know Gloria Steinem.
I met her somehow. I don't remember how. And once I did her show, there were other public access shows that asked me to produce their shows. So I did a bunch of others. And then again, I was bored. I wanted something a little bigger. And I approached Horvat Studio. It was actually a Hungarian guy.
Yeah, Horvat.
Yes. And I worked for him for a while as a still photographer, doing fashion, but on the side, I was still doing videos. And somebody that I knew from the Anti-Defamation League asked me, at the time already equipment moved to VHS or Betacam, and then it switched to VHS. And somebody from the Anti-Defamation League asked me to make a video about Ethiopian Jews. And they actually flew me to Israel, blah, blah, blah. And I did this video, and then they asked me for more. And then came the Alcoholism Council. Somehow they saw it. And they came the Correctional Association. I did a video about drug mules. At the time, there was Rockefeller mandatory sentencing for women or people that were caught as drug mules, and they were actually only decon, whatever. But I did this video for the Correctional Association, and they changed the law because of my video. I'm most proud from all the projects that I did. I'm
So
proud of
you
that one.
called attention to women who were wrapped up into this drug war, and it brought about legislative action to make it less harsh.
Yes, Como the father was the governor at the time. And it's not
Daddy Cuomo.
Daddy Como. And it was really a very unjust law, because those women would come from wherever country they went to visit their family. And somebody asked, would you take this suitcase for me? Now they open the suitcase, they put the things. They don't know that in the lining, they don't have x-ray vision, but in the lining of the suitcase is full of cocaine or heroin.
Yeah, the entire drug war was idiotic, destructive. Yeah. And innocent people often got wrapped into it. So good for you. You
Exactly.
went from documenting the hot dog lady to saving unsuspecting drug mule women. Good for you. Yeah.
Exactly. I'm very proud of that. And then one time I was editing another video for the Anti-Defamation League, and a guy from CBS walked into the editing room that I rented and said, "Oh, what are you doing this?" I said, "I'm doing this." He said, "You know what? We are looking for somebody at CBS. Do you want to work for CBS?" And I jumped, because as a documentary filmmaker, you make no money. Really, every month I didn't know how I'm going to pay my rent.
Yeah, it's almost as bad as being a podcaster.
Exactly. I'm used to it. So, exactly. So I jumped on it, and they hired me, and I was there for 2 years as a outside freelancer and 15 years as staff. And then I started together with other people the show that's called CBS Market Watch. It was a Sunday morning show, and loved working on it. And they sold it to the Dow Jones. And they asked me to go work for Wall Street, and I said, it is not for me. I do not like the environment. I do not like that I have to dress in high heels and all of that. I said, no.
High heels, and you don't 2 martini lunches, and you got to work 90 hours a week.
Exactly.
Yes,
exactly.
Yeah.
So they put me back in the newsroom, and I hated it. You know, newsroom of network TV is very mediocre, because you have a minute and a half, 2-minute tops, to tell a story, even if it's the most important story, because the big stories they keep for evening news. And I was working in the hub of CBS News. It's called NewsPath. We make the packages, what they call, a minute and a half or 2 minutes, and send it to all the affiliates and all of that. So I felt it was very mediocre. I pitched them
also
some project.
In its own way manipulative too, which is
Totally.
you know, which stories are you going to select? Then you compress a very complicated kind of exchange into, to your point, only a minute and a half. So are you really sharing any meaningful information at that point?
Right. So, you know, at around the year 2000, I pitched them a project. I said, because at the hub where I was, we were getting footage from all over the world. And one time there was a terrorist attack. I think it was in Israel. Yeah, it was in the market in Israel. And there were footage of legs blowing off and things, and you couldn't show it on TV. And there were other stories of footage that we got that we couldn't show on TV. So I went and I pitched to CBS, and I said, and already the internet started. And it was the year 2000 or 2001. And I said, why won't we do a website not on TV? Let's show them all the footage that's not on TV. And there were a bunch of executives sitting, and they said, oh, that's great. You found another way for CBS to make a few millions a year. And they never did anything with it. So it never happened.
It's possible that the lawyers expressed their concern. That's possible, but it's an excellent idea, and it was also very prescient, because the internet now has exploded everything. To see, you know, Charlie Kirk's assassination live on X. So now we are exposed almost to everything. But back then, censorship, filtering, basically making everything palatable to, you know, the general audience at prime time.
Right. And they were afraid to do anything that was out of the ordinary. But that is network TV, you know. The cable was a little
That's
more.
why I think one of the benefits, even though the internet has created so much chaos and misinformation and conspiracy theories, I think it's net positive because it just opens up all this information. You have an
Yeah.
opportunity to really find what you're looking for. And now the
Yeah.
AI is taking everything and putting it
Oh,
together. But now the AI is the filter, right? So
I
we live
know,
in
but
very interesting digital times. And you started, to your point, where you were editing reels, right? It was
right.
media back in the day, folks. If you're a younger viewer or listener, media used to be physical. You would buy a vinyl record, 12-inch diameter. You held media in your hand. You had a VHS video in your hand. If you were an editor, just like Mirav, you would be cutting the tape, right?
Exactly. We sliced it with razor blades at the time.
You
That's
slice, you'd make it. Now you're on, Adobe or
not even. You could just even
Da
do it on.
Vinci Resolve, right? You're just moving the little.
It's amazing how the process. But if you think about it, our generation, look, we went first. There was internet, then the revolution of the iPhone or the computer in your pocket.
Mobile
Well,
technology.
right, and now AI. Only few years. It's like getting
Don't
smaller and
forget
smaller.
social media. Social media
Oh,
made
this
everybody became an editor, a publisher, an expert. Everyone is an expert now.
totally.
Yeah.
But it's also divided the entire world. If you look at every country, they're all 50-50 left and right. This is exactly it's I don't know where we're going with all of that. And now you can't believe anything that you see. I mean, is it really you or is it AI talking to me? You know?
Yeah. 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 I
And-
think you're real though. And if you know what, if you're a bot, you are an excellent bot. You're a very entertaining bot too.
right.
So how did you go from the CBS experience?
So
You
they
at this point you're walking away from just the newsroom pit, right?
I
It's the
wasn't
pit.
even walking away yet, so they didn't take that idea. So then I did another pilot for television, which is exactly what my podcast is, except it was video. And I called it Working America. And I had a makeup artist and a rock and roll photographer. And I pitched it to them. They weren't interested. I went to AT&T. They said, you know what? If you find the TV station that will air it, we are going to be sponsoring.
Well,
I went,
what year was this?
that was, I think it was the year 2001.
Okay. So
Like,
the millennial there.
yes.
You were doing, and just again to frame this up a bit, this is prior to the podcast explosion, prior
Oh,
to
it was
prior to prior to streaming digital. Not yet. Not yet.
it was prior to iPhone. The
Right.
iPhone came out in
iPhone
2000.
was 2007. So no mobile yet, no streaming. You did have cable TV. You had
Yes.
cable TV. That was about it. But you were still locked into the big screen for
Yes.
entertainment. And maybe there were some Blackberries, there were some Palm Pilots. Remember the Palm Pilot and all
Of
that?
course. I had
But
one of those.
but very primitive and not really connected to the internet. You still weren't really wired yet.
Yes, but you know, at that time, when I was still at the CBS Market Watch show, I did a segment about Nokia came with something and somebody else. They came with a kind of a prototype phone and said, we will be able to watch football. And they show you, we'll watch football and all of that. And I said, that's so far away from now. It was only a few years. So it was already in the making, all of that.
Yeah, there's a video of the science fiction writer Arthur C. Clarke.
Oh, I love him.
From the 50s, black and white, and he is holding what is essentially an iPhone. He was already talking about all the capabilities of the iPhone back in the 1950s.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So the idea has been there, but to actually make it happen
Yes.
was something. And Apple did it with the utility of the iPhone, and BlackBerry blew it.
Blew it.
Yes.
There's a whole, either a podcast or a book, I don't remember what I read, how they blew it.
Both.
They totally, yeah. Amazing.
All of the above.
Yes.
They insisted on the crude keyboard and the lack of real usability, and I think it just took a Steve Jobs to to bring that touch screen to life, and to
He was a genius in putting
that software and hardware have to be unified.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
All right, so it's 2000. It's 2000. Right. You're pitching shows. You're pitching the Working America show.
I did a pilot. It cost me money. I put my own money.
So you actually did the show.
Absolutely. So I can show them what I'm talking about.
Okay.
Couldn't sell it, so I kind of shelved it. And because they put me in the newsroom and they sold the show, I didn't want to stay in the newsroom. So I moved to the country for a little bit. I got into renovating and building places and into vacation rentals. So I had a bunch of vacation rentals, what we call Airbnb today. And
so you're always doing something, which is great.
I had no choice.
From fruit stand, right, to media, to real estate. That's great.
Right. And then again, I wanted to get into something more interesting. The real estate was boring to me. It was working and it was fine. I was making a living. And then one morning I wake up and I said, already, podcast, it was 2024. Podcast was already all over. And I woke up and I said, hey, I could do that show, because I totally believed in it. And I love doing it because I'm very nosy, and I want to know what people do for a living and how much they make. You know how you go to a party and you ask a person, it's mostly the second or third question most of the time, and say, what do you do for a living? And then you're dying to ask, and how much do you make?
And you're not supposed to ask people that in America.
In America, you're not supposed to.
In Europe, however, people will say, like, when you meet someone on the train in Germany and they say, oh, how are you doing? What's your job? Well, I'm an engineer at Siemens. The very next question is, well, how much do you make there? And they will just say it, and they'll just tell you. Not here. Everyone is very shy about how much they make. It's a secret.
I know. And when I invite guests, I said, I have to say how much you make. Not everybody is willing. And I said, well, if you're not willing, so just say the potential earnings in your field, or what do you know of other people?
Give me a range.
You know it. Give me a range, exactly. But a lot of people do agree to say, especially, I explained to them.
Especially if they're making a lot.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm a dog walker, and I just made 180 grand last year. They'll tell you.
So I had a dog walker, and he said he's getting $35 per dog. And then I have a friend in the city who listened to the show, and she said, oh my God, now when I see all the dog walkers go around with 10 dogs, I start calculating how much money they make.
Yeah, that's $350 an hour.
Exactly. Now she wants to become a dog walker. People have no clue of what actually people make.
No, and actually the numbers are usually a whole lot lower and higher than you would accept or anticipate. I'm assuming it always skews in one direction or the other. Like, I can't believe that that's all you make. Or you instantly get kind of jelly and you're like, really? You make that much?
The interesting things for people that really love what they do from a young age and that's all they want to do, they don't care how much they make. They're a little resentful that people won't offer them more, but they will keep on doing it. Like I had a Broadway director. He did What Did I Learn from the Constitution on Broadway. And he also does off-Broadway. And he was very resentful of the fact that off-Broadway investors and all of that will pay directors very little money. So some people vent about people using them, but he loves what he's doing. He has no choice. So
yeah, so you give people that outlet, but it's not just about making the money. It's about identifying with a career that you love, that you want to do.
Exactly. And for the listeners, and I asked some people because there was a local article on the Hudson Valley about my podcast. So I asked some people that listen to my podcast. Yeah, first they go because they want to know how much people, but then they don't care. They like the human story. They want to know how people broke into the industry. What is the industry like? So that's.
I think that how much do you make is a great hook. Because
Exactly.
for the very reason that I brought up earlier, that it's verboten, is that people aren't really supposed to say how much they make, and you often don't know how much people make. So an
Right.
opportunity to actually find that out is enticing. And then to your
Yes.
point, they dive in deeper to reveal more about not just how much they make, but why they do what they do to make it.
Right. You know what I learned from interviewing different people, that people in the trades like nurses or electrician or HVAC can make a lot of money if they're traveling workers. That's where the big money is. And I had no idea about that. Traveling, all of those professions, all those trades, if you're a traveling trade person, you make a lot of money.
I think that's one of the essential rules in career development. Even if you have a more conventional state job, like you go into an office or you have an HQ, if you're willing to be flexible about where you live, and if you're willing to move, then all of a sudden your career growth and development will exponentially improve. And what you're saying is, it's not just being flexible about where to move and where to live, but actually be willing to be itinerant, like moving around frequently will boost your income and your opportunities.
Right. So usually young people willing to do that. But people that already have families and stuff,
You don't
like
want to
yesterday,
drag the kid and the stroller and the daycare and the diapers everywhere
yeah,
where you're going, right? And if
right,
usually you'll have, let's say, a partner who's taking care of the kids. A great way to get divorced is to never be around.
right. And you know, another interesting thing, and I listened to your podcast with a guy from the health industry talking about AI. So the one interesting thing that really struck me, every person that's on the show, I ask them, what is AI threatening your job? And there's very few would say, yeah, a little bit. But most of them, no, not my job. They can't do my job. And I'm saying, yeah, they can, give it another year or two.
Yeah, and what about our jobs? Already, I'm seeing AI podcast hosts. I
True.
am seeing podcasts that are between two bots.
I
We just
know. And there was a company that was producing 3,000 podcasts a month in AI, but I just recently heard that they closed it. They're not doing it.
Yeah, I think the distribution companies are cracking down a little bit on what we would consider AI slop, which is just these LLMs whipping together conversations, videos. You have the Sora app. Have you seen the Sora app from
No.
OpenAI? Anyone can register and create a 10-second dynamically generated AI clip featuring you. You star in your own little movie reel, and then those of your friends who participate with you. And then now big companies like Disney have signed contracts. You and Mickey Mouse can do a dance. And there's
Wow.
endless iterations of user generated AI video on your phone in social media optimized reel format.
But I think there's going to be a backlash of all of that. And I see it already starting. People want to have face to face human interaction.
Yes.
A lot of people are sick of this AI and not knowing if it's real or not. And so it's good. I didn't know the podcast hosts are like cracking down on it because, and AI is good for many things. There's no question that it is, but you really have to check everything and.
Yeah. I think we are if not at a crossroads now, the crossroads is looming because the acceleration is so fast and the tsunami of AI slop on social media feeds is overwhelming. And it's a curiosity now, but I think to your point, people are going to feel dehumanized by it and invalidated. And also this idea of not knowing where the hell things are coming from and what you're actually watching becomes frustrating emotionally. You see people getting hurt or some disaster. Those are very common now too. These floods and falls and accidents that are AI generated.
Yeah, you just can't believe.
You can't believe anything anymore. So I think you're absolutely right. And I think also on part of your guests where they're dismissive, on the other hand, that AI will not take their jobs. Well, to a large extent, I think that's wishful thinking.
Yes.
Because AI is getting very, very good, and we're only seeing the beginning of its capabilities.
I know. So like trades, like I interviewed a plumber, right? And I asked him, is AI a danger? And no, AI cannot do. I mean, we could ask a little bit, but no, it cannot. Then I saw some TV show where they develop robots to go change your pipes, change your HVAC, change everything. You don't have to risk human. And they still think it's not going to happen, but I think it will happen faster than they think.
Yeah, and actually the irony is I think for some of those trade jobs with the robots, those jobs are going to disappear slower than many of the professional jobs, such as even lawyer, maybe even
accountant.
Accountant for sure, tax accountant. Before we had the TurboTax, now we have the Chat GPT tax, right? Just pump your stuff right in there and it's like done.
Financial advisor, but lawyers, my brother is a lawyer and he told me like when he has to write a contract, he first asks ChatGPT for a sample contract and then he edits it. So instead of hiring 3 people that he has in his office, he's only going to need maybe 1 more. That's all.
Absolutely. I check contracts with it, my accounting work, you know what I mean? And, some people are hesitant, like you put your stuff in there, they're going to take it. I'm like, you know what? Nobody cares. Go ahead. Take my information. I wrote a novel this year. And I put the whole novel up there so I can get the machines to write reviews for me.
It's very, and edit it for you.
Yeah, well, it didn't really do that, but I did a lot of research for the book using AI.
For that, it's great.
A super Google. It was like a super Google, looking stuff up and fact checking. It was very, very useful. But you're right; it's now doing a ton of writing as well. So how do you know who wrote your book anymore?
Exactly.
Right. Tell us about your guests. Like how long ago did you start the How Much Do You Make podcast?
I started in November 2024, but I didn't publish until February of 25 because I wanted to have 30 shows in the can before I publish any of them.
You're such a marketer. That's great.
It was because I wanted to have a leeway. What if I can't get people? At least I will have few weeks ahead of time.
See, I just pump them out and hope for the best or not care. So that's great. Good for you. You're such a planner.
So I started publishing in February 25, and I do every week. And a lot of people now contact me through friends of friends. They want to be on people love talking about their jobs. They really do, because they do it a third of their life, 8 hours a day. Think about it. 8 hours work, 8 hours sleep, and the rest is like with their family. They love talking about their jobs, and other people love listening to what people do on their job. So that kind of like inspired me after a while. I was like, oh, wow, I didn't think that. Well, I thought I was the only one interested.
Any really fun or quirky stories about
Yes.
unexpected happenings and things
Yeah,
on the job?
one guy that totally surprised me too. One of them that really surprised me was a lighting designer from Broadway. And he told me, when I asked him, how much do you make? He told me they make royalties. So, for example, I didn't know. And
I
I
don't
was
know that either.
right. So, for example, if you were like he's talking about a woman that did the lighting design for the Phantom of the Opera. That show runs in so many countries. For so many years, she was making a bundle. You make money even if it's in a different country. You make your royalties. So that totally surprised me. The other one that I did recently is a guy that started a business with $1,200 and turned it in 5 years to $3 million. How did he do it? He picks up poop of dogs from people's lawns and yards. And now he has a lot of people. He's on the West Coast only, and he's slowly getting in other
He's
places.
the poop scooper.
There you go.
I love stories like that
Me
because it's
too.
like there's an unmet need, which is literally picking up dog shit. Okay, this guy notices that there's a lot of dog shit, so maybe I could turn that into a money making venture. It's America,
and he sure did. And in the first month, he got 300 people. In the first month, because I said to him, who would be crazy enough to pay? It's $100 a month to come twice a month to pick the poop. It's like, why would I pay you? What's the big deal? And then I asked my friends that have dogs. Every single one of them said, if I had it here, I would pay in a minute.
Genius. So now he has an army of poop scoopers.
And cars and everything. But the truth is, you could open this business with a bucket and a rake.
Yes.
That's all it
Just
takes.
like your fruit stand.
There you go. Yeah. And he's going to expand. He said that this year they're going to make $5 million, but last year was $3 million. So I just published the $3 million.
Wow. Incredible. And then how does is it word of mouth? Is it dog to leash?
No, he said that a lot of the after he went from door to door and asked people if they want for the beginning, he said that the biggest way for him to get customers is through Facebook advertisement. Amazing, huh?
Yeah, and it makes sense, right? You target people in the income bracket who can afford $100 a month for the dog shit being cleaned up off their yard, right?
Yeah.
And then the other thing is you could just here's the hidden benefit. If I know that this guy is going to come by twice a month to clean the dog shit out of my yard, I'm just going to let my dog run in the yard, right? Before I would have to go and clean it up. But now I got the poop scooper coming to my house and just let it loose, right?
And even though he doesn't recommend it, you literally can do it on your bicycle because they scoop the poop and they bag it and then they throw it in the customer's garbage. So they don't even have to haul it because there's no way to process it and you can't make money on the other side.
Yeah, you can't recycle the dog shit. But although that could be a new opportunity, if you are listening or watching the Bald Ambition podcast with Mookie and Mirav today, and you see an opportunity in recycling dog shit, then this is your next business.
Seriously, I was like, whoa. How, he has like 10 or 15 cars that are wrapped around with his logo and they go all over the place. It's a great idea. He teaches people how to do it too.
America the Beautiful. And it also shows you too that if you're feeling down in the dumps, you're depressed, you think that there's no way out. You know, I have a good friend going back to childhood, and he's had a very, very difficult holiday season. You know, he's been institutionalized and he's trapped in this middle class American nightmare, and he can't get out. And I just want to tell him, quit your job, get divorced, and maybe start a poop scoop company. Do something, do anything. There's all these opportunities there for people to pursue if they just give it a try.
Not only that, I interviewed a guy from Australia that does digital real estate. What is digital real estate? You buy a website for $300-400 that has a little traffic. It's a passion website about crochet, about fishing, about whatever. And you do a little bit SEO, you do a little bit monetization, and before you know it, yes, people that started with less than $1,000 and make $8,000 a month. Yesterday, he told me about a company. They are not buying website; they are building website for people. That's another niche for people that don't have work and they're looking for something. You go to your plumber, do you need a website or whatever? He told me about a guy that within 1 year, him and his wife had no technical background, are making $160,000 a year.
Yeah, that's terrific. But the window is shrinking on websites
Yes.
because of AI, right? If
Yes.
you could get everything from your bot, you don't even have to type anything like Google. You just say, "Hey bot, you know, where can I order the pizza? Get me an Uber," or get any kind of information. You're no longer Googling and you're no longer going to websites. You're just going to your chatbot. So
Exactly.
that window is shrinking, but there's also new opportunities for that, where now websites are optimizing not just for SEO, but for bot optimization. Like they want the
Yes.
bot to scrape the stuff up so it gets up on in there, right?
Yeah, and I asked about a bunch of corporate people. It's like about this AI, and they said, the new opportunities, like you said, there are new opportunities. The new opportunities is learn how to use AI to do many different things, and then you could get whatever niche job or whatever. If he told me about this guy in Australia. They don't have traveling trade. They have fly and work, so they called it FIFA, I think, or whatever. But they work 2 weeks and 2 weeks off. He told me about this guy that started to do it, big shot at the mining thing in the middle of the desert in Australia that he works in. And the 2 weeks off, he was looking for something. So he became really good in AI. And now and they make a lot of money in the mining. Now he told him next year he'll be able to quit his job because becoming an expert in AI, he does website with AI to different companies and larger companies. And
Yeah, vibe, they call it vibe coding. So instead of having to do manually, the cascading style sheets and all the programming, you use agents. So you just tell the bot what you want, and then it automatically does the website building for you.
So where are we going? What are we going to do? I mean, I'll be out of a job because people will not have jobs for me to interview them.
Yeah.
Where is it going?
I just think like every technology, there's going to be, and already is, disruption, but there'll be a shifting of human need and human capacity. So the AI will be great at, let's say, building a website. The AI will be great at doing your taxes. Now, this will obviously interfere with accountants and web developers, but hopefully, with the AI doing the heavy lifting, we could be people talking to people and addressing human needs, which is, well, why are you building the website? What do you need it for? And then if I can't help you just do your taxes, then there might be a way of strategizing taxes or money, or to your point, talk about and help people with their career development when all the careers are changing. So I just think that there's this laddering up of human potential. When we went from horses to the Model T, right? Everyone freaked out, like the carriage drivers were
I know.
protesting. And then it led to millions new jobs and whole new industries that came up of the automobile industry and roads and then connecting people together. I'm fairly Pollyanna that the rising tide of AI will actually raise human potential and even opportunity as it evolves further.
I agree with you, but it will raise the potential for fewer people. I just read a study that was done last week or 2 weeks ago that Gen Z are a huge number, I think it's like 40%, are very concerned about their future. They don't think they will be able to find a job.
Yeah,
That
they
is,
should be. They should be. You're right.
it's very discouraging. What are we going to do with all these people?
Yeah, and the question is, nobody knows. And then the income disparity between people with a lot of money, on the markets and investment, and with the AI bubble that continues to grow, people are making millions, billions, trillions of dollars are rolling around in investment. And meanwhile, the other class of people who are working their day jobs, working check to check, are being crushed underneath this AI pressure of inflated investment, all the capital going there, and their own jobs being threatened. And this is the ticket for, as they say in Latin America, revolucion, right? It's going to
I
be,
know.
and we're
And
heading into a lot of problems, which is further exacerbated by our political polarization too,
totally,
which you brought up earlier. So
totally.
so your podcast is in a sense evolving from, how much do I make, to wow, I still have a job.
And can you even make anything?
It's like, can I make anything at this point, right? It's
You
just
know, but
challenging.
many times I was thinking about the point that you brought up with the industrial revolution, changed from horses to cars. So the change was like one sector or one thing or one did, but AI could do a million things. And just think what will happen with quantum AI will come on the scene. It's at the horizon, and that
Yeah.
is very scary.
Yeah, well, I don't think there's quantum AI per se. There's quantum computing, but
No, there is quantum AI. That's what they're talking
no,
about now.
that's kind of bullshit, I think. It's more like artificial general intelligence, which is that the AI isn't just predictively responding to what you're asking it to do, but it's actually thinking more like we do,
Right.
creatively, and has much more flexibility. I still think we're farther from that than most people are predicting, but I think that's going to happen too. And when that happens, it's like, wow, then what?
I think it will happen very fast because if you look at from the industrial revolution to the internet, which was the very big change, right? It was like what, 100 years, 150 years. From the internet to the iPhone was like 20 years. From the iPhone to AI was like 15 years. So it's becoming smaller and smaller gap between the huge changes that society has to catch up with.
I think that's right. The gap from just AI to AGI might be a little bit longer than some are anticipating, just because we might need to rethink the whole technology. The large language models have an architecture which might be self-limiting. So for them to actually rise to the level where we are of creative ideation, integrating our lived experience, having intentionality, there's arguments to say that a machine almost needs to be emotional, to be motivated, to interact with the world. And I think robotics are going to be a significant part of that. You
Oh,
have, you
robotics,
have
very.
predictive learning, you have reinforcement learning, and then you have this mythical AGI. But I think it will happen. And to your point, then what?
I think that those oligarchs will teach the AI to become emotional. I think that they're
I think they'll
probably
become emotional by themselves, the AI. It's like an emergent quality, which is like, you're a brain in a box, but they're going to give you arms and legs and sensors and
right,
eyes with the robots. Then we
right.
got big problems. Then, you know what? I just thought, Mirav, I thought of a great idea. When the
What?
AGI comes online and it has this emergent complexity and emotions, they could be a guest on your podcast.
Oh, funny you should say that because my podcast, my next podcast that I wanted, not next podcast, but next segment I want to do, which once I edit two that I have to edit, is actually interview AI. How
Yes.
is he threatening our life? What jobs is he going to take from us? This is exactly what my plan is.
Yeah, you could actually do that now. I have, I use the OpenAI GPT, and I just have the basic account. I pay like $30 a month,
Yeah, me
but
too.
I'm already talking to it. So you talk and it responds. So I think you could do this right now. You could just have just interview and have
Absolutely.
a conversation with your bot on your
Uh,
on your podcast.
Absolutely, I'm going to do it. But you know what? I use ChatGPT and I also pay monthly. But Copilot, they have a voice of a black guy. I love his voice. He is so good. He's so friendly. I feel good when I hear his voice. That's how sickening it
You
is.
you could have a conversation with Chatty Bro. Your Chatty Bro. See, I'm a white guy and saying Chatty Bro, it's like this is in the category of what I call slightly racist. Just a little
Yes.
it's a little bit racist. And it's done with humor, kind of like
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
pulp fiction self-reference and humor, but I think
Right.
that's great. You could have how much do I make with Chatty Bro?
Right. Or how much money will he steal from you?
Yes. How much of your potential income is already
He's gonna
being
take.
robbed from you by the artificial intelligence? That's great. That's great. So speaking of the future and all these changes, you've been doing a podcast since February, and
Right.
that actually corresponds to my own podcasts. I started in
Yes.
February of 2025 also.
I know, I saw that.
And that's kind of fun. What's next? I mean, you're evolving. You're interviewing more people, talking to more people.
A lot of people are contacting me now to be on the show because part of it is a promotion for them because, like, for example, my dog trainer got few customers from that.
Yeah,
My dog
the poop
groomer.
scooper, the poop scooper too.
Somebody's go, yeah,
They're gonna want
he
their
has.
poop scooped after the how much can I make podcast? How much
Right.
how much poop can you scoop?
So I don't know what will bring. I love doing it because I really am curious about people. I always love interviewing. When I used to travel with my brother, and we will be in a foreign country, I will always ask people questions to see how they live, what they do, blah blah blah. And when I finish, I go back to my brother and I said, "Did you find out where their bank account is?" He always made fun of me.
Yeah,
It's like,
share mother's maiden name, social security number,
right.
their crypto seed
So
for
I
their
love
wallet.
doing it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm not even doing it for the money because I don't even know how to monetize my podcast yet. I'm doing it because I love doing it, and it really doesn't cost me money to do it. It cost me money to buy this equipment. It wasn't that much, and I love editing, and so I do it on GarageBand actually because mine is audio only.
Yeah.
So I love doing it. So I don't care where it will take me, but I don't know. I don't know where it's going from
I
here.
love this podcasting thing too. And it started, I've been a writer for years and I've been doing a lot of creative writing, especially over the last 3 years. So I've evolved my marketing PR agency career into career negligence. So I've put less time into my formal business and more time into my creative writing. And I always I always wanted to do more podcasting. I wanted to appear on podcasts, and I wanted to talk and interact with people. And it just hit me in my bald head. Well, just start your own damn podcast. It's like everyone and their grandmother is doing this. And Sarah Silverman has these funny skits where she's making fun of people who want to start a podcast. Like, don't do it. Go to podcast help groups so you do not start a podcast. And part of me felt that way because you had Joe Rogan and Mark Maron, and they trailblazed, and now you have a million podcasts. Everyone's doing
Right.
it. But so what? I love talking to people. I love meeting people, and I love networking with people. So I said, screw it. I'm just going to start a podcast. And then I started the Bald Ambition one, this one, and then another one, No Hair, All Heart, for emotional stuff. And then I have another one called Bald and Bloviating, to talk about politics and culture and things that don't quite fit anywhere else, like a bullshitting podcast. Let's just talk. And then I'm a writer. So I started the Science Fiction and Fantasy Factory for my networking with the science fiction community, because I wrote a science
That has a
fiction
huge
book.
potential, in my
Yeah,
opinion.
yeah. So I haven't really been monetizing in terms of buying ads and Target, but that one I think has a lot of potential because there's a
I
big
think
audience
so.
for
I
science
think so.
fiction. And I had one more, which is the Ink versus Algorithm podcast for just writing and creativity in general. So I have my own little Mookie media empire. I just need to figure out what the hell to do with it. But to your point, this is a long response to your terrific observation. I love talking. I love meeting people. I love networking this way. And I also love the editing and playing around with the mechanics. So I'm with you 100%. Are we getting rich? Is this like we're buying crypto? No. But it's so much fun, right? This is a great time. This is a great time.
You study medicine, didn't you? I heard in one of
I
your
have a
podcasts.
medical writing background.
Right.
So a medical writing, and I do healthcare and life science marketing and PR as my day job and agency life.
But the science fiction that you talked about, which I believe has a huge potential, according to the Australian guy, Matt Rudd, that I interviewed, if you have an accompanying website that you just develop a little bit, eventually you could sell that for a lot of money.
Thank you. I'm going to rush right in, and I'm going to vibe code AI my science fiction website.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's a lot of fun, and I get to meet people like you.
Right.
Yeah. So you're gonna keep doing the How Much Can I Make?
Yes.
And who would you love to interview? Like what kind of career person or job would be a aspirational kind of guest for you?
Well, what I'm thinking of, and I'm approaching, and I think I will get it, I want to interview our local state senator. I want to know what the state senator job is like. You know, not her political stuff, because I follow her, but what does it mean? Because many times I called and she's on vacation, she got married, she got that. I want to know what is a senator, because we only hear about them during the election. Then I would like to interview assholes like this Norm from the Homeland Security.
Oh, if you could
Oh
get
my God.
Kristi Noem on How Much Can I Make, that'll be a big coup for you.
Yes. She's such an idiot, so I would like to, but I don't.
I love her transformation. It's like
Yes.
she's an exercise not only in political opportunism but plastic surgery.
Yeah. My fantasy is that we'll throw her in the jail in El Salvador. After the Democrats take over the House and the Senate. And
spoken like a true New Yorker.
Give her some of their own medicine.
I had a former Democrat from the House of Representatives here in California on my podcast a few months ago, Mike Gatto, and he had retired prior to the current administration, and he was feeling excitement about getting back into politics because he felt that he could bring about change, like become less partisan, be more of a mainstream middle line kind of guy. So I
That's
thought that was,
interesting to know
yeah,
what in this landscape made him go and want to approach it. That would be very interesting. You have
that was
interesting
the essence of
podcasts.
my conversation with him, at least strategically, which is like, Mike, I totally understand that what's missing in the American dialogue is negotiation, compromise, critical thinking, conversation, calm deliberation, and middle of the road thinking. But that seems to be the least effective at the moment.
Right.
And then he said that, but that's an opportunity that he felt that he could explore, which is be the reasonable, middle of the road, moderate.
That
And
would be very interesting.
yeah, that was his point of view. And, and that's an angle of attack, which is the angry moderate, the moderate who's in the majority and yet has the least voice because their voice is not amplified by the algorithms of social media and the evil robots of the digital services.
For example, the guy that you interviewed, Tony, whom I loved, I wish he would come on my podcast, the influencer.
I could send him to you. It's like,
he was so good. Now that is something AI cannot do.
You're talking about Tino, the reviewer?
Tino, not Tony. I had the characters.
I got it. So Tino reviews. So just for our listeners and viewers, one of my prior podcast guests was Martino Chiaviello, who is Tino reviews on TikTok. And he's built his own business, his own side racket out of reviewing electronic products, gadgets, and all that.
But not only that, he's very real. I remember seeing some of his things before I even met you. He's very real. This is not AI. This is a human that experienced and all of that. I love that podcast, by the way. So I forget that's what I wanted to say. That this is, in my opinion, AI-proof job. Being
Bingo.
a review.
That's what I was getting at earlier with, Tino uses the do-it-yourself production tools, just like what we do.
Right.
You might use GarageBand to edit. I use Riverside, and Tino uses CapCut. So
I use CapCut for my promos. Yeah.
Yeah. So Tino his day job is client as a client in the healthcare industry.
Right.
And then he goes home to annoy his family in the garage with all this stuff. And it's so great. And you could feel his enthusiasm and love of what he's doing. He loves to share, and he really enjoys having these gadgets and playing with them and then sharing his opinion about them.
It comes through. That's why I loved him, and that's why I tend to believe his reviews.
Yeah. And you want to see more. They pop up on my thing, and I personally don't care about most of the products. Like, I'm not a gadget guy. So for me, it's not about the thing that he is sharing. It's his enthusiasm. And the way he tells the story about the little thing. And I think he's got tons of potential. And we were joking that he looks like Brad Pitt, and he's obviously got his bankroll. He's just a regular guy who's sharing his love of something.
Well, that's the point.
And that hits right here, in the heart, and that's not a bot.
That's this is the point. What I learned, now I have already 70 interviews. What I learned is that people that really love what they do and it's their passion, they're usually successful at it.
Yes. Give it time. Be patient.
Exactly.
And you don't need to. I think you bring up a terrific point, which is there's a feeling that you got to go through the checklist to be successful, and you have to be like everybody else, and you need to copy. Every other video on TikTok is some moron influencer telling you the latest gimmick on TikTok that is going to get you more views. The latest on TikTok is that if you put your
Yes.
caption upside down and you have your video in reverse playing this Taylor Swift song, you're going to trend. I'm like, get the fuck out of here with this stuff. You're a goddamn bot. You know what I mean? Even if you're a real
Right.
person, you're just a tool. You're a tool. You're a machine of this shitty business. And,
Right.
and instead, you have an opinion, you feel something, you broke up with your romantic partner, you lost your job, you got a new job. We are going on this human adventure. Grab a phone and make a little reel of yourself celebrating your life or complaining about it. Express your humanity in a direct and honest way, and people are going to care.
Right. This brings me back to your idea about the science fiction. First of all science fiction, I have a lot of friends that are into science fiction. I'm not. I like real story, documentaries and all, I'm
You're more
different.
down to earth than
Right.
no fruit stands on
Right.
Mars for Mirav.
Right.
Yeah.
But I know if they knew that there is a place where can go and listen to other friends and listen to other reviews and talk about their passion, this could be very successful. And the guy that I told you about, the building websites and digital real estate, the most successful website to buy and build and all of that are niche websites like science fiction. I think that he has a huge potential. You really have to build
I
that
need
up.
to put on more of my marketing hat on my bald head to go for that. I have a short story that's going to appear in the science fiction anthology of 2026. So I went to LA Comic Con and I
Yes.
actually sold my new science fiction book at the Comic Con at a
Wow.
booth. That was really fun. And this guy gives me his card, S.A. Gibson. He's an author and an editor and a teacher. And he goes, well, we're looking for writers to put into this anthology. So I sent him a couple stories. He picked one. He's going to put it in there. And then,
Wow.
yeah, it's how you network into the community.
And one of your story will catch on fire and then
you never
forget it.
know.
You never know.
And I think you exemplify bringing the American dream to life by simply being flexible, taking initiative, and trying different stuff.
Right.
And if you want to be creative and if you want to be an artist, just like you mentioned, it's very difficult to monetize. But don't let that stop you from expressing yourself and having a good time and sharing your joy. And if you do
Exactly.
that, it's intrinsically rewarding. Maybe you'll win the Nobel Prize and be a
And give it to
billionaire
Trump. Yeah.
and be a billionaire. You'll be standing in Stockholm next to Donald Trump. And maybe that won't happen. But as you journey toward that place, whatever it happens to be, you're having a great time and it's very, very rewarding.
You gotta love what you do. That's my conclusion from doing this for a year now. You have, and you know what? Another thing, you have to listen to the whispers of the universe.
Yes.
If something comes in your way and you realize you need to grab it, you have to listen and keep your eyes open.
Yes.
This is how a lot of the people, really, the trajectory of the career went because they recognize the whispers of the universe.
You listen, and it doesn't mean it won't be difficult, and it's going to be very disruptive, and it could be frightening. But if you have, the proverbial hair on your cojones, you have a little bit of courage, a lot of wherewithal, grit, determination, and just focus and stubbornness, then voila, you go from fruit cart to CBS to world famous podcaster. Here you are. This is terrific.
And
And
when
now, please go ahead.
no, I wanted to say when you have your science fiction thing going and working, I want you on my website, on my podcast, because I want to hear what does it take to open a a podcast like that, to get the followers. That would be very interesting.
And to build it, yeah,
and to build
the whole
it.
thing to build it up, because I think you're right. It has a lot of potential.
Huge potential, in my opinion.
I think that's right, and it's inspirational talking to you about it. So
good.
I will keep you posted. I'll share the link with the podcast for you. You could give that a listen too. And I'm doing video versions of everything. My last guest was Don Ellis Aguilio, and he does illustrations for Superman and Aquaman, and he does the Rise comic, which is his own initiative. So, and I met him at LA Comic-Con too. We exchanged cards, and I was thinking of maybe making a graphic novel of my science fiction book, and I was looking for artists. They have all the artists in their
You can go to ChatGPT. It will make you the Banana
no, don't
Rama.
tell Don that. Don will kick your ass for saying that.
Right.
right.
But look what a great decision it was for you to go to the comic thing.
Yes.
This could have been all dying if you didn't go there. You wouldn't have gotten the book deal.
And it's a real stimulant to do that. And it's networking and meeting people. And I'm going to the Pasadena Comic-Con in January 25th, later this month.
Good for you.
And
Good
connect
for
you a little more. And, you never know how things roll out. It's just fun to become part of the community. And I'm doing it a little bit back-asswards, because normally people are a science fiction fan and they're part of the science fiction community. You're on Reddit and you're commenting and you're reviewing and you're talking and you're building up momentum and opportunity. And then you got in your head, I want to be a writer. What do you guys think? Here's my first chapter. It's more organic. I came out of it the other way around, which is I've always wanted to write a book like this. I wrote the book, and now I'm like, I hardly know anyone in the community. So let me ingratiate myself and learn as I go.
That sounds fantastic to me.
That's kind of cool. I'll send you my book.
Yes, and also the link to that podcast. I want to send it to my friends who are like science fiction crazy.
Okay, that's great. We're networking here as well. This is a good time.
Of course,
this is a good time. And while I've got you, I do want to ask you about your identity, if you don't mind me going, which is Israeli.
And yes, Israeli.
We have had such a tumultuous experience, and the definition, if you will, and the expression of being Israeli and being Jewish and being American is so complex.
Especially being Israeli now.
Especially being Israeli. So now, post October 7th. So,
I don't like Netanyahu.
This is tangential to your podcast, but I would love to hear some of your thoughts about that
too,
if you don't mind me sharing.
No, not at all. Not at all. I hate Bibi Netanyahu. I want him dead, really. Other people want him out of the country. I want him dead. Him and his family, they're terrible. But on saying that, and him, building Hamas and all of that, giving them money and all of that, Israel had no choice, but it had to really punish Hamas seriously for what they did. And when October 7 happened, on October 8, I told my friends, you watch, in 1 week, the world will turn against Israel. That is the pattern of the world. They don't understand the reality of living in a country where everybody around you, imagine if Canada and Mexico and whatever other countries around us would literally threaten your life on a daily 24/7. Either terrorism or shooting or rockets or whatever. You have to do something. And the world doesn't get it. And it drives me crazy when people say free Palestine. They forget the Jews were there for 3,000 years, that we are a little speck of, we are a dot you can hardly see in the map, and all the Arab countries are. How are we colonizer? The Gaza population went up to 20% in the last 2 years. How are we genocider? So, but I've been attacked as an Israeli on Facebook by people that were on Facebook, supposedly my friends, calling me genocider, killers. I mean, I'm against their policy, but still, I'm in dangers of some people could attacking me or whatever. So it's not that easy.
I don't want to get into the politics because on my Bald Ambition podcast, I talk with people on both sides of this issue, and I think it's kind of interesting. The one thing that I've observed, and I'm curious about your opinion, is this rift within the American Jewish community, where I call them. I gave them two names. The one is the militant Zionist group, and the other one is the liberal apologist group. And let me characterize
that's a good one.
Let me characterize these for you, and I'm curious about your reaction. So the militant Zionists, they think that every single thing that Israel ever says and does is awesome. So they might have apprehensions about Bibi and the more right-wing government, but they are all for Bibi because they feel that he's doing what's necessary for Israel. And again, by definition, whatever Israel says and does is awesome because Israel is the destiny of the Jews, the Holocaust, blah, blah, blah. That's the militant Zionist. And on the other extreme is the leftist apologist. They go protesting for the Palestinians. Some of them are even pro-Hamas. It's an inversion where Israel is an apartheid state. Israel goes against humanist values. Israel goes against our core values as Jews, who tend to be liberal and empathetic and humanistic. And this schism has become acute since October 7th. And I know people on both sides of the equation. The militant Zionists tend to be a little bit older. They're the generation who have
and richer.
And the leftist apologists tend to be younger, tend to be more millennial, and especially the Gen Z, even the Gen Alpha.
And uneducated about the subject.
Yeah, and they don't have context. So they've grown up in a world where Israel is the dominant player in the Middle East. They're conceived of as the bully. And then the militant Zionists grew up where Israel is the underdog, was the one getting its ass kicked, and is just trying to survive. So
those two groups, I can't stand either one of them. I'm a centrist.
So I'm with you, and it's what I've expected, which is this extreme polarized thinking, which is doing Israelis and Jews in general a disservice.
Totally. Yeah. The one on the right, you have no idea how many arguments I had before the election of the last election with Trump, of those Jews that, we're going to vote for Trump, he's going to be for Israel. And I say, you don't understand. He's going to let Netanyahu do whatever he wants, and you are ruining Israel. This is not good. He will release the hostages. Well, Biden had the same deal that Trump did, but Bibi Netanyahu, this criminal, worldwide criminal, wouldn't let Biden do this because he wanted Trump. But we'll see. Trump already has some things that he's doing that the Israelis are not going to like. On the other hand, the people on the left are totally uneducated about the history of the region, the history of Judaism. They speak with slogans they don't understand, they never studied, they don't know. So both groups, in my opinion, are stupid. Sheer stupidity. I'm a centrist. I'm also centrist when it comes to American politics. And I think actually majority of people are centrist, if not for the social media that separated us so much. I always said, you know what we need? Because I wrote a book about Islam, about the Quran and all of that. What we need an alien to land here to remind us we are one neighborhood, we are one people. stop doing all this stupid fighting left, right. And the leftists, they think, oh, because Israelis are white, supposedly, which is not true. More than half are from the Arab countries and they're brown like me. Because they're white, they are the oppressors. It's just like
it's an automatic reaction formation that, black is good, white is bad.
Yeah.
Black is the victim, white is the imperialist, colonialist. And
Yeah.
it's just so ingrained that there's no nuance and there's no context. You bring up an interesting point about the alien landing, and we go back to science fiction. One of the powers of science fiction is looking at our society through that lens. There's a movie called District 9, and since you're not a science fiction fan,
No, but I saw it. It's not a new movie. It's an old
no,
movie.
it's not a new movie. I think it's like 25 years old at this point.
Right, I saw it. I don't
But the
remember.
idea is that an alien spaceship hovers above Johannesburg in South Africa, and there are thousands of abandoned aliens in the spaceship, and then they come down to Earth and they put them in an internment camp beneath the spaceship. And then white people and black people no longer care about their racial difference because at least they don't look like a gigantic shrimp of the aliens on that ship. So it's exactly your point. I feel like we're never going to figure this out and we're never going to get along until we have a common enemy. And the common enemy has to maybe come from outer space, which is, I hate you, and I always will, but at least you have 2 arms, 2 legs, a head.
And not only that, science fiction, most of the science fiction I was exposed to, they treat aliens as violent, people that come to kill us and all of that. I think it will be completely the opposite. When they will come, and they will come, it will be they want to study us, they want to befriend us, they maybe want to cope and do some sort of things with us. But I fear that the idiots on this planet will kill them.
Yeah, and then they'll get mad.
Yeah, yes, exactly.
Yeah, in this, back to the movie, I think the movie did a great job, which is most of the aliens don't give a shit. They're just poor. They live in this internment camp, and they're just like humans. They're mostly just average aliens.
Oh, I have to see it. I didn't see it.
And then there's a father and a son, and the father is an engineering genius and is like a real intellect and is motivated and wants to help his people, and the son is just kind of like, Daddy, how you doing? So I think it was, again, emblematic of our own species, where most people are pretty average. They just want to eat and shit and fuck and die. And then you have people who take initiative and want to do stuff and, like, get off your ass. We're in a mess. Let's help each other out.
Right.
So I think you'll get a kick out of it. I'll refer you to it, but it is the value of science fiction, and it kind of goes full circle with what we're talking about. That a lot of our problems as a society and a lot of our identity issues too come from our incapacity or unwillingness to show empathy toward each other and to do some critical thinking and find nuance and context in our life, right? And it's too bad.
We're all brainwashed to whatever it is we want to believe in. It's your social media, it's the news you get. Everything is like geared into this whatever point view you have, which is terrible.
I think folks like you are doing a great service, which is reaching out to everyday people and letting them talk, encouraging them to talk about their story of their life through their work.
Right.
And to celebrate their success.
Exactly.
That is so good. That is really, really good. And I'm happy to have you on the Bald Ambition show as really exemplifying ambition, but ambition in a good way, which is doing what you love, being successful at it, and then having the opportunity to share it with Mirav, right?
Every single one of my guests is a success. It's a success story because they love what they do, they're making money at it, and they're happy.
Yeah. That is awesome. So thanks for joining me on the Bald Ambition podcast. I'm going to put links to all of our information and podcast in the podcast description. let's keep in touch. I'd love to be on your show.
I would love to have you on my show talking about the science fiction. That's really interesting
you've
to
given
me.
Great motivation to pump that up, because I agree with you. I think it's a great targeted audience, and it has a lot of
Whenever you're ready to talk about it, send me an email. We're going to do a podcast about it.
We will do it. That's a goal for me. So to pump up the podcast and my book and my science fiction presence, so that I could boast to you and your listeners
exactly
how much I make. Thanks,
all right.
Take
Thank
care.
You so much. That was a great conversation.
Like, comment, and share. I'm supposed to say that.
Oh.
Right. Take care.
You got to share, because he has some really great podcasts.
Okay. Thank you so much. You got it.